Hello, this is Andy over at Falco Canine Academy. It caught me off guard. It was spinning for a very long time. I'm glad that you're here on a very hot Wednesday. It's my son's birthday. Rhett, happy birthday to Rhett. He is 7. Oh my gosh, 7 years old. I cannot believe it. What a legend, and how fast it goes by. Just so happy with that kid. He's funny. He's independent. He's so different from all the rest. So happy birthday to Rhett. So we're going to be talking about our training with love and respect. I was going through some videos for some new products I'm creating. I have a new podcast that I've been doing, which I'm going to share with you where you can find that podcast. But I was coming across the video, and I watched this video, and I was reminded of how much I've taken thousands of hours, I'm guessing. Maybe hundreds of hours. I'm not sure, but a lot of videos over the years. I've been doing videos since YouTube started back in 2005, and was even doing video before that because I was making VHS cassettes of training, trying to copy one of the other big dog trainers at the time who was selling the worst edited, if edited at all, videos for like $75, and they were horrible. and I was buying them because I was interested in dog training. It was the only thing that was available for training police dogs and that kind of information. So it was fantastic. Hey, Chris, happy birthday to my son. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm using Webinar Jam to do this because I'm going to be showing that video that I was told you about. And I went ahead and did a voiceover for it so I can share that with you. And so I'm in Webinar Jam, so I can't show the comments like I normally would. So I'm sorry, Chris, at Find It Canine Detection. I can't share your comment there, but I was trying to think. This isn't really on bed bug detection, Chris. So I'm going to be doing another one on bed bug detection, hopefully later this evening, if the party festivities do so. If not, for sure tomorrow I'll be doing an update on Charlie. We had some great searches we did the other day, and I videotaped a couple of those, not all of them, but a couple of them, especially the first time he's ever been in the church. And you're going to see him do a search over there at the church that Chris knows well because we train there a lot. Okay, so I'm going to make sure and share. Oh, I want to share. Let's see, make sure it's the right one on here. Of course, I'm going to share my report for training with love and respect. If you have not seen it yet, you're going to want to click on this link and get it. It helps you understand, I think, more or less what our training philosophy is, and will even help you. It gives you some tips on free. Sorry, I'm typing free training and said free as I was typing it. It gives you an idea of what I'm talking about in regard to training with love and respect, because that's what all this is about. And you're going to see it in action while training a police dog. This police dog, his name was Zeus. He was so strong, and his bite was so hard, and his determination to bite the equipment and bite the bad guy was so strong that in many cases the feeling is that with a dog like that, you have to use more power. And in this case, you're going to see a complete training session where there was absolutely no physical correction. Now, there is a verbal correction where we say no very sharply, but there is absolutely no physical corrections. There is giving the dog nothing. You're going to see that the trainer freeze up. And you are going to see things that the dog doesn't get necessarily, but no physical correction in regard to a leash correction, to the collar, to the pinch collar, or anything like that. All right. So it's very powerful, I think, in understanding that if you develop this relationship, that your corrections and need to do corrections becomes less and less, even in a dog that's going to be as powerful as this dog is. Now, I can replicate, or I can compare this dog's desire to go after the sleeve as to the same desire a dog might have to go after a cat, or a kid on a skateboard, or a child that's running after a ball. If we can get this police dog to do what he did for the sleeve, you, the pet owner, or you, the dog trainer, can train somebody with a problem, such as a dog that suddenly sees a squirrel, a cat, a rabbit, a kid, whatever it is, and wants to dart after it. Is hard. I'm telling you, the relationship to this sleeve, to this dog, is to all those things that you can imagine. Maybe even stronger. Yes, maybe even stronger, because you have to know this dog. His desire to bite the sleeve was strong. So I'm going to tell you about a couple things that I've been working on. And one of them is I'm getting more information. I'm developing more of a program for training trainers. I'm really honing in on it. This is one of those things that it just has been carrying on for years, and starting and stopping creation, and then and wanting to do more. But as I go through and training business owners how to marketing for their businesses, it just makes sense to take some of it and much of it and transfer it over to training dog trainers. So I'm busy doing that and doing some stuff. One of those things is a podcast that I'm creating, because I'm repurposing some content. And so if you go to the Train the Dog Trainer Facebook page, so I'm going to share my screen here really fast so you can see what it is I'm going to show you. Where is it? All right. So here is my Train the Dog Trainer Facebook page. So right up there, you see at the top where it says Train the Dog Trainer. Just go to Train the Dog Trainer Facebook page. And here is one of those episodes of the podcast. So you're just going to click on this, and it'll play in. That's our intro. It'll play directly in a Facebook page. So you can, it's interesting how I'm doing that, and I have a tool that allows me to do that. So here's episode 1, episode 2. For whatever strange reason, the way that these got uploaded, they're way out of order. So you're going to see episode 4 first, then 5, and then down here you're going to see 1, and then you're going to see 2. I'm not sure if it's going to be, of course, we see something different as an admin of a certain Facebook page, but you may see them way out of order. In the future, you will see the latest one at the top, because I recorded most of these yesterday and a couple of them today. I'm trying to get to 5, because once you have 5 episodes on your podcast, you can connect with iTunes, not iTunes, iHeartRadio. So I'm going to have the podcast will be in iHeartRadio very soon. It is also in iTunes. So if you go to iTunes and search for Andy Falco's Train the Dog Trainer Show, you will find it there. And that's what it looks like inside there. There's the artwork, Train the Dog Trainer. It's all in there. It's good for anybody, especially those, of course, that want to be trainers, but even for people that are just really interested in dog training because they have a working dog, this may be a good podcast to follow. And again, there's some good business tips that will be in there soon. All right. So let me stop sharing my screen here. Get rid of that. Go back to my camera. All right, so I'm going to play this video. I want to hurry because Gina has limited time. Good afternoon. Going to see what I can catch here before my meeting. Okay, so I'm going to hurry. It's about a 20-minute long video. Sorry about that, Gina, but it's good. I'm sure it is. I'm pretty sure. I did it about 1 o'clock this morning. From 1 to 2 o'clock this morning, I was doing this. So I think it was good. I was half asleep, half awake when I was doing it, but I think I got all the points. All right, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at this video. I can still see your comments, so feel free to comment, and I will follow on the comments while this video is playing. And so make sure to ask any questions you might have while this video is playing. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start playing it now, and I will see you at the conclusion of this video. Hello, this is Andy over at Falco Canine Academy, and I found a video. I'm doing some cleanup on my computer. I'm building some other programs and creating other videos to demonstrate some of our training and to teach trainers how to train dogs, and came across this video. This is one of my favorite videos. I remember this like it was yesterday, but it was not. It was probably about 4 years ago or so, maybe longer, maybe less. I can't remember. I'll have to ask Aldo when I talk to him next and see when this was taken. But this was taken at our field there in Brea. And I believe that this video demonstrates, now we're going to be showing a police dog doing bite work and that kind of stuff, but it really demonstrates our entire training philosophy of training with love and respect, so that both pet dog owners and police dog owners and detection dog owners could understand how this concept works. And now, surely, we do use and teach how to give proper corrections with a leash and a whatever collar it is that works for you and your dog. And we do teach that, that type of compulsion when the dog needs to be told that he's doing something wrong, when there's a consequence to that. And we do it in a way that the dog understands, and it's respectful and humane and all that kind of stuff. So we do that. But here's an exercise with this dog, who is one of the strongest police dogs that we have trained at Falco Canine Academy, based on how hard he hits, how strong his bite is, and how strong his desire to bite that sleeve is. And so Aldo
and myself, along with his handler, are going to run this scenario, and you're not going to see us give one physical correction. Now, the verbal corrections, once you get the dog's love and respect, a verbal correction can be just as powerful, almost as powerful as a physical correction. If you create a relationship with the dog where he loves and respects you, and this is the important part, you can have a verbal correction be as meaningful as a physical correction, for real. But you have to create that relationship. If you don't have a relationship, it doesn't matter what you say or how you say it, the dog's not going to pay attention to you. So I'm going to run this video, and we're going to stop and start it, and I may end up running it again. I'm not sure. It just depends on how things go. I've watched it through and through about 5 or 6 times now, and I think I got the gist of what it is I want to point out, but there is a chance that we may run through this twice. But you have to understand, number one, and I'm going to repeat myself, is that this dog has a super strong desire to bite that sleeve that you see him carrying in his mouth right now. This basically is the end of the exercise. When I start it, it's going to pop over to a different view. But that thing he's biting, you see how he's crushing it down? That thing's actually round. His desire to bite, and his bite is so powerful that he's crushing down on this hard, what is called a hard sleeve, and he's biting down on it. This dog, his name is Zeus, and he's super strong. He's very, very powerful. A very good police dog too. Has one of the best noses of any dog that we've trained, and so know that the desire to chase the person holding that thing is constant, and his true self does not want to be obedient and wait. He wants to go at the moment that he feels that he wants to go and bite that thing, but. Because we've built this relationship, the three of us, myself, Aldo, and this handler, in training this team, the relationship was built, right? And so this is the result you're going to get. We're going to work on an exercise here that involves obedience and control around that sleeve, around that piece of equipment, with Aldo being the decoy. The decoy is the guy who wears the sleeve and takes the bites from the dog. And so we're going to work around that philosophy that the dog cannot bite until commanded. The dog also must let go when commanded, and the dog must be called away when commanded, and then show strength and not chase when the decoy is showing activity, like waving his arms and running in place and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot that's going to go on in here, and there's multiple things happening, but for me, and hopefully for you, this is going to be a very powerful demonstration of how, once, again, you have to develop the relationship first. So I'm not saying this happens automatically. It is important that you understand that you have to build the relationship first through just living with the dog, through the type of obedience that you do, through the regular maintenance training that you do, and your day-to-day life with the dog, understanding that that dog must have love and respect for you, and you must have love and respect for the dog. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and begin the video, and we're going to walk through this, and there's going to be a lot of stopping and starting, and then I'll run through it probably one more time, I have a feeling. All right, so we're going to start this, and so there he is. There he is in a down position. The down for us in police work and even in our pet dog trainings is an important position. The dog must understand that down is where he needs to stay unless commanded to leave the down, or if the handler is in danger in relationship to police dogs. So the down is important. The dog cannot move from that down unless given permission to do so. You must understand also as a handler that you have to be reasonable and never make your dog stay there like for a half an hour or an hour, right? When you put the dog in the down, you have him down for a reasonable period of time, and then you give him permission to get up. And so for police work, it is super important so that you can pat people down, so the dog doesn't come and bite him while you're handcuffing him and that kind of stuff, the suspect that is. Or you put the dog in the down as you are working near a road or a highway, which happens quite often when police work, or when you're dealing with a victim that's on the ground and injured, so that your dog doesn't come up and lick him in the face or even bite them, right? So the down is super, super important. And so you can see that sleeve. Again, the sleeve is the thing right here that the dog really, really wants, right? And you can see his left eye is trained on that sleeve. And you're going to see little twitches as the handler goes and grabs it and goes to hand it to Aldo. and the dog wants nothing more than to get up and go bite that sleeve. So let's go ahead and run this. So he tells him to stay. The word blibe is stay. Look at that. He's just not taking his eyes off that sleeve. Oops. We're out of. He handed it to Aldo. That's Aldo from Argentina. Aldo's back in Argentina at this moment. And you see the dog holding the down. Very, very good. This is awesome. His mouth is even open. He's not stressed. Again, let me run that back. That kind of caught me off guard. So what I want to show you is how his mouth is open. That's important for me. His ears are up. He's in tune with what's happening. He's waiting for a command from the handler. He's waiting for something to happen, so his ears, his little radar ears, are listening for any excuse he can have to give chase. The mouth is open, which tells me that he's more relaxed than many dogs. If a dog wasn't relaxed, his mouth would be closed and with clenched teeth, and would not be open, and his tongue out like this. So this is a good, solid, clear-headed dog right here, laying down, just waiting for the command to go. Now, what Aldo's telling our handler here is to call the dog to your side. Now, the dog kind of hears, go bite the bad guy, right? But the dog, again, is commanded. You're going to hear the handler repeat the command of foos, which means heel, right? So he's going to call the dog to his side by saying foos, which means heel, but there's the little bit of the dog that almost can't stop himself from going and biting that sleeve. So watch what happens here. Almost goes by and stops. Oh, okay. So here is what happened. So because the dog complied with the command and goes to the down, right? Actually, he's in the heel position. The desire here was the dog understand, come to my side in the heel position. If you do so, I will send you to go bat that sleeve. What is the reward in this case? The reward is biting that sleeve. So for staying in that down, coming to my side and getting into the heel position, I'm not sure the down is required. I don't hear him saying plot, so I think the dog was just merely on his own going into that down position. I think merely what we wanted here was the dog to come to that heel position, the right shoulder in line with the handler's left leg. That's the heel position. Right shoulder in line with the handler's left leg. The dog did that, and at the moment he does that, again, timing is everything. At the moment the dog did exactly what we want him to do, he's sent to bite the sleeve that Aldo was holding. And sends him. So Foss is the command. Now here comes the out part. So now before we go, let me get so we can see. So right here you hear him say that word out. Out is the command to release. Now again, this dog has a strong desire to bite that sleeve. The handler, in the dog's mind, is not in a position to give him a physical correction, right? So the handler's kind of got his thumbs in his pockets. He's standing in a relaxed position. The dog knows that he only has a 6-foot line on, so there's no way the handler has a hold of it. Dogs do know distance, and the dog has turned so he can see the handler. If you don't realize that, I'm telling you that the dog has turned his position. Can you see how Aldo actually is trying to face the handler, but the dog is pulling him to Aldo's right and the dog's left so that the dog can see whether the handler is going to come up and grab that leash or not. But the handler doesn't move. He says out 3 times or so, 3 maybe 4 times, and then he goes to the word no, which is the verbal correction that gets the dog to understand that the handler doesn't like what he's doing, and then watch what happens after that. So he's already given 1 out command.
Out. No, out.
Perfect. Here we go again.
Out. No, out. Good boy. Out. Good boy. Out. No. Hey. Good boy. Good boy.
Nice. That was such good stuff. Okay, let me back it up a little bit so you can see the things that are happening here. So here we go again. Let's actually go to the point where the dog is sent. All right. So there's a couple things you want to see here, and that is the dog's on the bite. The handler uses the word no as the verbal correction to tell him that he's not happy, that he's not letting go when he's saying the word out. And then you have Aldo, who is a fantastic decoy, fantastic dog trainer, knows when to move. And he only wants to move when the dog's eyes are on him, the decoy, because we want the dog to understand that he can only get a bite when he's focused on the decoy but not biting, right? And he's in a position of sitting in front of the decoy. And then you see Aldo walking towards the dog and kind of putting pressure on him and really teaching the dog, I am not supposed to be biting, is what the dog's saying to himself, until the decoy moves or my handler says bite. Those are the only two ways that dog can bite, and he knows it, right? And so the dog makes a little bit of an error. He bites it, but he realizes it and lets go on his own, which is fine. At least for this exercise. So you can see all the little dynamics going on. And so watch the dynamics, listen to the words, watch when Aldo moves, gives him the bite. It's only when the dog is focused, which is what you want to do for a police dog. You want the dog to be focused on the suspect, not focused on the handler. The dog does not need to look at the handler. He only needs to hear the handler. So his eyes need to be ready to bite the decoy or the suspect when he moves or becomes violent. And so the dog needs to keep his eyes on the decoy. Slash suspect. All right, I'm going to try to stay quiet here as we're going through so you can listen to everything that's happening.
Out! No, out! Good boy. Out! No, out! Good boy. Out! Good boy. Out! No. Hey! Good boy. Good boy. Good boy.
All right, so now you see how the dog's moving away from the handler. The dog doesn't want him to grab the leash, and so the dog's moving away. He's not afraid of the handler. He's just trying to he wants to keep biting that sleeve and doesn't want the handler to come grab that leash, which he's going to. And as you can see, there's a pinch collar on this dog, and so the dog also knows that the ability to give a physical correction is present now. And so when the handler does grab the leash, you see how quickly the dog releases the sleeve. At no time is a physical correction given. The handler is merely grabbing the leash and the dog releases. Now, the dog understands the pinch collar, understands that when it's used correctly, it does smart, and so the dog doesn't want to get corrected, right? And so far, we've been able to do this exercise without a correction. So, it's not necessary. The dog's actually doing a really good job. So you don't want to lose everything that we gained by now giving a physical correction for something that's not necessary. We were able to make strides with this dog to show him that all you need to do is listen to us. When you listen and you out, you get the bite that you want. When you listen and you out, you get the bite that you want, and repeated that. He said out, the dog released, he got the bite. And Aldo did it in a fashion the dog understands, okay, and when I out, I have to stay focused on the decoy, and as long as I'm looking at the decoy and not biting at the time that is required of me, I can bite when the decoy moves or when I'm given the command by the handler. Very clear, right? This is a clear exercise and got clearer and clearer. And you see the dog letting go a little bit faster each time. And here, like I said, simply the dog's moving away because the dog doesn't want him grabbing onto the leash. Which, Aldo being a good decoy, his job is now to bring the dog to the handler, which you should see here. There you go. So he slowed the dog down with his arm. You see the leash is still slack. It's never got corrected. Let me show you again. So from the time he grabs the leash, watch the dog. Whoop! I'm not. It's loose, still loose, and he says out, and the dog releases right away. Right. All right. Dog goes down on his own. The dog is trying to be obedient. He drops the leash, tells the dog to lay down. So now Aldo is moving. Now the handler moves back, and what he's going to do is call the dog to him, which is a quasi call-off. And when the dog calls back to him and gets on the heel position, right, Aldo's trying to make it as hard as he possibly can on this dog. We're only doing is showing proof of concept. The dog is able to understand that if he comes in the position, here he comes, almost there, one more move, and sends him. How fast that dog is. I love Zeus. And you can just see how fast he is. Let's watch that again. That is super cool. So he's going to drop the leash. Dog perfectly commanded, lays down nice and firm. Aldo's being an active decoy, moving around. Right? Now he's going to expect the dog to come back to him. The handler is. He's going to give the command for the dog to come back. He says here. And now he says foos, which means heel. Aldo's making it as difficult as possible. Almost there. Almost there. There. Sends him. You can just hear the hit. Aldo's giving the scream, just to show the dog has courage and confidence. He's going to make sure that the end's on a positive note. Again, he's keeping the line slack. Perfectly leaving the and gives him the sleeve as the reward. Nice. And now run back to the police car. Woo! That was awesome. How about if we walk through it one more time? We're not going to stop at this time. Just walk through the exercise. Watch all the little things that are happening. There's a lot happening here. Aldo does a great job of decoying. The handler does a good job of following direction. I do a good job of holding the camera. And we end on a very positive exercise. Very, very positive exercise. Not one single physical correction was given that entire exercise. It only works if you have love and respect for both the dog and towards the handler, and the handler towards the dog. And you have good decoy who knows when to give the bite to reward what behavior. And when you do it well, this is what happens. This is what it looks like. All right. And again, this is in Basic Academy, teaching this dog how to do this. And as you can imagine, things got better and better, and just was fantastic. That's all I have to say. All right, here we go. We're going to run through a one-time full all the way. I may comment here and there.
Give him the sleep.
I'm having to translate every so often. Again, Bleib is stay. I think he says Bleiben or something like that. Everybody adds their own little thing to it. He's getting direction from Aldo. He's going to call the dog to the heel position. Once the dog gets in the heel position, he's going to send the dog for the bite, for the reward for doing what he was supposed to do. All right, the dog's on the bite. And you see that dog trying to watch the handler, right? Dog's not releasing. Not at all.
No, out.
Verbal command, bite. The dog was rewarded immediately for letting go. Rewarded immediately for letting go.
No, out.
Aldo's trying not to give him anything.
The boy.
You see how he waited for eye contact there? The dog looked to his right, and Aldo didn't move until the dog was looking at him.
The boy.
Gave him another bite for releasing when he was supposed to.
No. Hey. The boy. The boy.
Now, some people are saying, well, the dog should bite him if he's getting that close. Well, again, we are trying to push the limits here to teach the dog under extreme circumstances because we can. It's not going to hurt anything by doing this. No correction. The dog just understands that leash is on the pinch collar, so he let go immediately. Leash on the dog's back. Tells the dog to down. Dog follows the command. The down isn't the issue we're working on, so there's no need other than just maybe telling the dog good boy when he does it. Again, this is the precursor for doing a call off. So we're teaching the dog that when you see this configuration, you're supposed to not bite the handler unless commanded by the or bite the decoy unless commanded by the handler. Waiting for that heel position, because that's what happens on the call off. The dog's supposed to call back, go to the heel position, there, and sends him. Now, what the end result is, the end reward is that the dog gets to keep the sleeve, and the handler jogs back to the car. And I cut the video short when I was filming, but he runs all the way back to the car. He may even walk around the car a little bit. Just let the dog enjoy having the sleep for a while. Good. Dog walks away proud. Very, very good job. All right. So I hope that all made sense. I know that I may have used some words that are kind of related to police work and that kind of stuff, but I'm hoping that it was clear enough to understand that if you can do this, this was the power of me starting Falco Canine Academy, that I learned how to do things like this with very powerful, strong dogs, and then translated it into pet dogs in some regard to some of their high-end issues. And in regard to aggression and that kind of stuff, and then even just happy-go-lucky Labrador Retrievers that were crazy in their happiness. And again, if you just bring things down a few notches by just not being all yelling and screaming and hitting and strong corrections, that you actually have a clearer picture because you're doing it in a manner that the dog could understand. There's not a lot of extra stuff going on. And then once the dog gets it, then you can increase all the stimulus, like maybe what would happen on a street fight with a bad guy or something like that, and maybe even gunshots. But you want to be able to do this first without all of that. You can hear a dog barking in the background. You can see people that are standing around and watching. So you have a little bit of distractions, but nothing that heavy at this point. We want to first get the clear understanding under just fairly sterile circumstances on a green grassy field, and then as time goes on, then we get to where we're in an alley or after a pursuit and end the pursuit and jump out of the car and send the dog, and then a lot of yelling and screaming, that kind of stuff, and then tell the dog out and then have the dog release. So you can see how you have to start at a certain level and then work up, and this was done perfectly. Thanks to Aldo in Argentina, Aldo Secchi, our handler, just not stating the name in the police department just because it's been a while and I don't want to assume that they want me to say who they are. This is a working police dog that was on the streets, did a fantastic job, had a fantastic nose for finding narcotics, and I hope you enjoyed this little bit of a training demonstration on this old video. Happened to find, decided to put together a training video for you guys. So hope you enjoyed it. All right, take care. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
So there you go. So a lot going on there. If I can bring back to what I was talking about before and how a pet dog person or a trainer that trains pet dogs, how you bring this to that world is look at the sleeve as a cat or a child on a skateboard or a child playing with a bouncy ball. How attracted some dogs, especially aggressive dogs, can be towards those things. That attractiveness this dog has towards that sleeve is exactly the same as Zeus has towards that sleeve. So just replace it and understand that if you can lay the foundation with one of your handlers as a dog trainer, you have a customer who has an aggressive dog, you lay the foundation of obedience, training with love and respect, getting that dog to respect the handler and love the handler at the same time. Those two things are key. You have to have both. Right? And bringing that relationship together and then starting at a level that the dog can handle, right? If it's, let's say that it's, a cat, and you happen to know where you can find some cats. You want to start from a great distance from a cat, get that obedience. And then as you get it and you get the dog's understanding that the cats are off limits now, you can't chase a cat as you're on a walk, or squirrels, or even better, going to a park where you have squirrels, don't walk to the tree that where squirrels are running up and down. Don't go right next to that tree. What you want to do is go from a distance from that tree. So maybe the dog can just hear them. For some dogs, just hearing the squirrel is enough to drive them bonkers, right? So you want to get to that distance that you can maintain and only have to give minor corrections. Once you get compliance from the dog under those circumstances, then you increase or decrease the distance between the thing that gets them, and keep decreasing until you get to that point where you can now walk past a squirrel that's actually running, or a rabbit, or what have you. You can find these opportunities in your environment. You can find them and do them and teach your students how to do that. So if I'm going to take what it is you saw in this video and apply it to pet dog stuff, that's what I'm talking about. That sleeve represents just about anything else in a pet dog environment. And going through some exercise. Again, that is a high-end advanced exercise that Aldo Secchi, who's watching right now. Hello, Aldo. He sent us a little happy face there.
did a fantastic job of decoying. The timing is exquisite in regard to when that little movement that he's given with the sleeve is the okay for the dog to bite. And I'm thankful and we are appreciative that that's all it takes to, at that moment, teach the dog that what he's doing at that very second, that's what's key. Not maybe that he was a little slow to let go and he kind of let go very slowly. There's one time where he couldn't let go. The teeth were kind of stuck in the sleeve and he couldn't get them off. So that doesn't count. But the other times where he was slow to release, what we're not going to do is focus on that he was slow. What we're going to focus on that is when he let go and he looked at Aldo in the eyes, and those two things happened. He let go, was looking at Aldo in the eyes, and that's where it gets rewarded. That's the thing you're focusing on. You're not focusing on the process of thinking through the problem and how to solve the problem. That needs time, right? He needs the time to think. He needs the time to figure out, wow, he said these words that I know are probably related to me letting go. The decoy, Aldo, is now no longer moving and giving him anything. That movement and all that kind of stuff, that's also part of the reward, right? When he stops and gives nothing, that's no longer rewarding other than the sleeve is still in his mouth. And the reward happens when the dog releases the sleeve and is looking at him in the eye. And then Aldo perfectly gives that reward and the dog gets the bite, right? And so that is key. And that's why you see the progression of him, the handler giving out, and the progression of he's outing faster. He's trying to release faster. When he does give those little bites, it's only because Aldo's stepping into him and the dog's going, okay, I don't know if I like this. And the dog is just tapping him and saying, oh, I'm not sure what to do here, right? So the dog eventually backs up, looks at the decoy, Aldo moves and gives him the bite. And then you saw the rest that happens there. And then eventually the dog is given the sleeve as the ultimate reward, the jackpot, we call it. So you have little rewards. So if you're looking at like a jackpot, like a slot machine in Las Vegas, those little bites here and there, those are payoffs of $100, right? $100 worth of quarters. But the jackpot is $10,000, right? So the slot machine, Aldo, is giving the dog, when he's correct, giving him, I'll give you $20. Let go. All right, I'm going to give you this next one. Maybe if you do really well, I'll give you $40. This next one, if you do really well, I'm going to give you $100. I'm going to give you a longer fight. That's $100, right? And so what keeps him at keeps you at the slot machine, the dog at the slot machine, is those little tiny rewards. And then in the end, when the dog does everything right, he is obedient. He comes back to the handler. He goes to the heel position. He runs, gets the bite. He gets the big fight, and then the sleeve comes off, and he gets to run off with the sleeve. That's $10,000. You see what we're saying? That is what I call Las Vegas training, where you're giving him little bits of the jackpot. Here's a little bit of the jackpot. Here's a little bit more of the jackpot. Now do this. Oh, there's a little bit more of the jackpot. Now do this. There's a little bit more of the jackpot. Oh, you're getting nothing now because you're not doing what I told you to do. You're not getting any piece of the jackpot. You're getting nothing. You get nothing. You get nothing. Bam. Oh, there we go. Nice. Now you give the dog the jackpot. The dog runs off with a sleeve, and the dog feels like a winner. The dog leaves a winner. And that's why Vegas exists. And that's how it exists and pays for all those lights, right? Is because of the people keep putting in. And oh, here's 40 for you. I know you put in $300, but here's 20 for you. Nice. I won $20. It cost me $300 to get 20, right? And then that continues. So I hope that was valuable to you. I want to thank all the people that joined us. Not everybody commented. I went and put your names in there. Nancy, Aldo again, Kyle, JJ has decided to join us on this particular podcast. Who else was on there? There was a couple other people. I can't find my comments. Where are they? Where'd they go? JJ. Heather Sullivan, Cheryl Court. I'm sorry. Gina, of course, and Chris. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for sticking with me. I see the numbers building up there. We had quite the number of people because this is being shared on about 10 different Facebook pages. So I saw a lot of people on there. I'm thankful for your time to watch this. I hope it was valuable. I'll be coming back with another training session with Charlie. We had a really good day at the church the other day. I took some video. And right today I was going to go there again, but it's 100 and something degrees. It's just so hot to try to get from the truck across the black asphalt and do some training. I decided to do just a little bit of training here in the air-conditioned house. But tomorrow we'll get back to the church and do some more. But he had a great day at the church. That was his first visit. So I'll have a video about that stuff that we did yesterday. Yesterday? It was either yesterday or the day before yesterday. I'm losing track. All right. That is it. I, again, hope you enjoyed it. Aldo, nice seeing you on here. And I will talk to you later. Take care. Bye.